Hey y'all, I'm Savannah, and the disease or virus that I chose to do my research project on was influenza, also known as the common flu. Um, Influenza has a lot of different aspects that make it either not as deadly or more deadly for humans. Uh, there are three different types. There's influenza A, B, and C, but there's like 144 different subtypes at least. Influenza is an enveloped virus, meaning that it has an outer envelope that comes from the host cell's plasma membrane. The proteins on the outside of the plasma membrane on the virus are called hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. The proteins on the outside of the virus actually help to code and tell whether it's influenza A, B, or C. For example, if there's, say, 9 of the neuraminidase and 17 hemagglutinin, then it's influenza A. Let's see. Both of these proteins play a huge role in the virulence of the virus. Virulence is a big word for a microorganism's ability to cause harm or a disease. And the hemagglutinin helps to hold the virus to its host cell so that the host cell can be infected and start replicating the virus. The neuraminidase is very important in holding the newly replicated viruses to the outside of the host cell to infect the surrounding cells so that it ends up infecting your whole body. Once the surrounding cells become infected, then it's like a big cycle, and all the other cells become infected until your whole body is infected with the virus. As far as toxicities, influenza is toxic or can be toxic to both humans and people and animals. As far as the type of influenza you have, like say H1N1 was what they called the swine flu. So it could be passed from humans and pigs, since it was a certain strain that could infect pigs as well. The example that I used earlier of 17 hemagglutinin and 9 neuraminidase is influenza A. That's part of the normal pathophysiology, and I mean, the number of proteins on the outside is how you tell what kind of or what strain of influenza you actually are working with. There are many different people that can be affected by influenza. It Depending on how bad you have it will depend on whether it results in just a few weeks of bed rest or it can actually even result in death. People that are more susceptible to influenza are elderly people, children are more susceptible, pregnant women, and even pregnant women up to 2 weeks postpartum are more susceptible to influenza rather than somebody who's just living a normal everyday life. Alaska natives and American Indians are also more prone to influenza complications. They don't have the health care that we do here. They also don't have the lifestyle that we do here. They don't have access to the vitamins, to as many healthy foods as we do, and all of that different stuff plays a huge role in your body's ability to fight off infections. Socioeconomic scales. Obviously, if you're higher up on a socioeconomic scale, then you're gonna have more money and you're gonna be more wealthy. You'll have more money to put towards living a healthy lifestyle, like eating the right foods, taking vitamins, taking probiotics, all that good stuff to help your immune system and your body function the way it should. You will also have more money to put towards treatment. Say if you get a really toxic case of influenza, you're going to have more money to put towards treatment plans and medicines and hospital stays and everything like that. People who are more poverty stricken won't have the money to spend towards getting the treatment that they need if they do end up with influenza that's a more severe case. As far as disease management, a big part of disease management is staying ahead of the virus. To stay ahead of the virus, you have to look at personal hygiene, personal sanitation, as well as keeping up with vaccines. Every year, there's a new strain of influenza that comes out because the RNA strands don't have an error reading mechanism, so there's a new strain just about every year. The virus adapts to different vaccinations. And just like there's a new virus every year, there's also a new vaccination every year that has different strains of the virus based on previous years and what doctors think will be the strain this year. People don't really look at or think about how important personal hygiene and sanitation is to their overall health. You have to wash your hands and stay aware of your surroundings and the people around you. If you think somebody around you is sick and they look sick, then you need to be more aware of what they're touching, what you're touching, and being careful about washing your hands. Vaccinations are 50 to 60% effective in the United States. A vaccination doesn't actually go into effect until about 10 to 14 days after the shot is received. You can also get the vaccination in a nose spray, but it's a live virus, so there's a higher chance of complications with it. Also, if you actually get the flu and you want to use an antiviral medication, it has to be given within 24 to 48 hours of the onset of your symptoms for it to be effective. As far as treatments go, it depends on the severity of your case of influenza. If you've got just a mild case, like your common fever, the runny nose, the body aches, and stuff like that, then really all you need is rest and fluids and to keep up your appetite. Obviously, when you're sick, you don't have the appetite that you normally do, but it is important to stay hydrated and healthy even while you are sick because it'll get you better faster. Usually the longest you're down, if you don't have to take any medications, is going to be about 2 weeks. More severe cases can actually require hospitalization and can even lead to death.